Welcome all for yet another session, Dr. R.S. and you, Science of Cosmetics and Personal Care Products. Today we are in part 32, Building Blocks, Active, Section J, Building Blocks for Oral Care. Building Blocks for Oral Care. So I am putting all these things in a single page so that it is seen. So from 33 I will change the page, right? So here you can I'm reading this out so that when you want to take a particular section and see introduction, definition, challenges and references, skin structure and function, common problems associated with skin moisturization, sunlight and skin pigmentation, skin aging, hair structure, teeth and gums, rewind, revision, product forms, building blocks and building blocks, water, surfactants, building blocks, surfactant, building blocks, emollient, humectant, building blocks, rheology modifiers, building block, preservatives, antioxidants, chelating agents, building blocks, antimicrobial preservatives, building blocks, colors, building blocks, perfume brief, building blocks, active, skin moisturization, management of prickly heat, acne, dandruff, deodorants, antiperspirants, sunscreens, anti-aging, skin pigmentation and oral care, right? So part 10 we discussed about teeth and gums and the general problems associated with oral care. I think you have gone through that, and I'm extending from there, from part 10, right? So anyway, will be part 32. Okay, building blocks, actives for oral care, right? Oral care is J, okay, section J, actives for oral care. So I am going very rapidly in two papers on what we discussed in part 10, right? This is what we discussed. We discussed the structure of teeth. This is enamel. The outermost layer is enamel, then dentine, then gingiva. Okay, we used to call gums, teeth gums, that is gingiva. This is the cement, which then root canal, this is the root canal, root canal treatments for sensitive teeth, this is the pulp. Okay, this is the crown and this is the root. Okay, this is the crown and this is the root. This is the structure of the root, the structure of the teeth, where enamel is very important, dentine is very important, gingiva for our purpose, for cosmetic purpose, gingiva is very, very important, that is gum, right? Of course, the root and the crown, right? Now, we discuss this, okay, right? Tooth surface. On tooth surface, protein films are formed, that is called the pellicle. It is the protein film which is formed, that is called pellicle. Diet and habit stains the pellicle, right? It gives the stain. Then over the pellicle, there is bacteria colonization, it causes plaque. Okay, plaque is a biofilm. Biofilm is colonies of different kinds of bacteria that forms over pellicle, right? Over this bacterial colonization, if this calcification happens, that is called calculus, or it's also called tartar, right? Plague, bacterial metabolism, thiols are liberated, halitosis, mouth odor, Then acid production, you get caries, dental caries. Okay, so the tooth, you get the cavities in the tooth, dental caries, then tooth loss. Then bacterial metabolism can create toxins. Then gingivitis. Gingivitis is gum disease, initial stage of the gum disease, right? And finally it can lead to periodontitis. That is the advanced stage of gum disease. That also causes tooth loss. Then you get gum recession, that is gum, gums, and you get sensitive teeth, right? Right. So what is the gum? Gingiva. We said no, this gingiva. Okay, this is gingiva, and that is called, another name is gum. No, so gum recession, and when it you get sensitive teeth. So you have to address antibacterial, to address the bacterial colonization. Then tartar calculus, you have to remove calcification. Then mouth odor, you have to address. Then dental caries, you have to address. Because of the acid production, you get dental caries, you have to address. Gingivitis, bleeding gums also, you have to address. Astringents, so then recalcification of teeth, hasten it, okay, recalcification of teeth. Then address sensitive teeth. So sensitive teeth, antibacterial, astringents, right? And you have to address mouth odor, and most important, recalcification of teeth. You have to address that because acid corrodes the teeth, right? These are all the things that can be addressed through personal care. Is it clear? Right. So yet another thing recently, what happens? Free radicals and oral care. Meaning, the oral cavity is under constant bombardment from food, drink, all the other things. Bacteria and other disease causing agents along with systemic conditions present further insult. Because the oral tissue are delicate, they are especially vulnerable to cell damage caused by free radicals and oxidative stress. See, the oral cavity, lot of things are happening in the oral cavity. Part of the food is digested, and smoking, tobacco, which you. So, because of this, free radicals are created in the mouth that can cause oxidative stress. Saliva is a natural defense against bacteria and other substance harmful to earth. Research is confirming that antioxidants are among the most important elements in saliva, and that they help to protect disease including oral disease and oral cancer. So, through personal care products for oral care, we can supplement antioxidants also through the product, right? Antioxidants also to the oral cavity, care of the teeth and gums, right? So, to summarize, what we need, we have to remineralize the teeth, we have to address the sensitive teeth, we have to have antibacterial agent, we have to have astringents, antioxidants, and of course, the final cosmetic thing is teeth whitening, because the stain on the teeth, right? Teeth whitening is another process, right? So these are all can be addressed by the general care of teeth and gums. And of course, so remineralization, addressing of teeth, addressing sensitive teeth, antibacterial, astringent, antioxidant, and teeth whitening. Bleeding gums, addressed by astringents. Right, now sensitive teeth, right? Two ingredients are used for sensitive teeth generally, potassium nitrate and strontium nitrate, to address sensitive teeth, right? Potassium nitrate and sodium fluoride are widely used along with sodium fluoride, used along with potassium nitrate and sodium fluoride together are widely used to treat tooth sensitivity. We will come to sodium fluoride later. Okay, but potassium nitrate is very, very important. Potassium nitrate decreases the fluid flow through the tube by clogging them, decrease the level of activity of dental sensory nerves, and prevents or reduces the sensation signals from reaching the brain. So that is how potassium nitrate and the strontium nitrate act to reduce the sensitivity of the teeth, right? Okay, so how you get the sensitive teeth? How do you get the sensitive teeth? We saw that. See, we get sensitive teeth because of gingivitis, the gums recession, it goes back and it reduces sensitive teeth. Along with the bacterial metabolism can also cause caries, that is the dental caries. Apart from that, dental caries and sensitive and gum recession, you get very sensitive teeth. In the sensitive teeth, you do the root canal, right? Remove the disconnect the nerves. So sensitive teeth you get, right? So sensitive teeth, the first aspect of controlling sensitive teeth is to use potassium nitrate and strontium nitrate and reduce the sensation signals from reaching the brain, right? The second most important way to address sensitive teeth is through remineralization of the teeth, right? Remineralization of the teeth. Okay. Here we have to know about hydroxyapatite. What is hydroxyapatite? A major component and an essential ingredient of normal bone and teeth, right? Hydroxyapatite makes up bone mineral and the matrix of the teeth. It is hydroxyapatite that gives bones and teeth their rigidity, right? Hydroxyapatite, also called as hydroxyl apatite, is naturally occurring mineral of calcium apatite, formula Ca5PO4 thrice OH, but it forms as a dimer, right? That is why twice Ca10 PO4 6 times, OH twice. It's usually written as a dimer. Now it is currently synthesized. The material is occurring as a mineral. It is also currently synthesized. Okay. Nano hydroxyapatite particles penetrate below the surface of the enamel, providing replacement calcium and phosphate ions to the areas for which minerals have dissolved, thereby remineralizing the demineralized enamel and restoring its integrity. Right? So, hydroxyapatite is important for the tooth remineralization. Hydroxyapatite is important for tooth remineralization. So for sensitive teeth, on one side you have to treat with nitrates and also improve the teeth mineralization. That is also very important. Now there is yet another ingredient that is used. It's called calcium sodium phosphosilicate. No, it's called Novamine, okay, which appears to help tooth sensitivity. A randomized clinical trial demonstrated that dentifrice containing 5% of calcium sodium phosphosilicate may have the potential to mineralize and occlude the dentine in oral environment. Okay, so calcium sodium phosphosilicate also has the remineralization property, right? So that is calcium sodium phosphosilicate, that is also used, and people use hydroxyapatite, nano hydroxyapatite for remineralization of the teeth. Right, now fluoride. Okay, you have heard fluoride toothpaste, right? Fluoride is beneficial to teeth because it helps to rebuild remineralized weakened tooth enamel, slow down loss of minerals from tooth enamel, reverse early signs of tooth decay. What happens when bacteria in the mouth break down sugar? We saw that acid is produced acid. That what happens? The acid eat away the minerals in your tooth enamel. This loss of mineral is called demineralization. Weakened tooth enamel leaves your tooth vulnerable to bacteria that cause cavities. Right? Fluoride helps to remineralize your teeth enamel, which can prevent cavities and reverse early sign of tooth decay. Stannous fluoride, sodium fluoride or sodium monofluorophosphates are used in oral care products as a source of fluoride ion. Understood? So fluoride is beneficial to rebuild and remineralize. Okay, we know hydroxyapatite remineralize, right? Because it is the teeth is made up of hydroxyapatite, so it is logical to say that hydroxyapatite remineralize. But how fluorides help to remineralize the teeth, right? So how fluorides help? How fluoride works to remineralize the teeth? How fluoride works? Hydroxyapatite, we saw, no? Hydroxyapatite of tooth enamel contains phosphate and calcium ions. We saw that. Under normal conditions, stable equilibrium of calcium ion and phosphate ions are present in saliva. When pH of saliva becomes acidic, 5.5 for enamel and 6.2 for dentin, interior thing, no? It causes dissolution of tooth mineral, hydroxyapatite. Right? It causes dissolution of tooth mineral. Hydroxyapatite is the tooth mineral, no? This process is called demineralization. Right? When fluoride is present in saliva, fluorapatite is formed. What is formed? See, saliva has this natural mineral and keep on redepositing when it is when erosion happens, saliva, it redeposits fluorophosphate on the teeth. Hydroxyapatite on the teeth. Right? When fluoride is present in the saliva, fluoroapatite rather than hydroxyapatite is formed during remineralization process. What happens? Instead of hydroxyapatite, which is the normal thing in the normal mineral in the teeth, fluoroapatite is formed and that gets redeposited. Presence of fluoroapatite, fluoride increases the rate of mineralization process also. So, okay, if fluoroapatite is hydroxyapatite is substituted with fluoroapatite, so what? Because fluoroapatite is apart from fluoride increases the remineralization process, that is one. Two, fluoroapatite is inherently less soluble than hydroxyapatite, even in acidic conditions, resistant to demineralization. Now you can see people, I can eat now even sweets, now that is the advertisements, because if fluoride is there and fluoroapatite is formed and that is deposited instead of hydroxyapatite, then fluoride apatite is very strong. Even at low pH, it will not get demineralized. So it is resistant to demineralization even at low pH condition. And that is how fluoride works. Fluoride works when the cavities are forming initially, fluoride helps to repair the cavities, right? By increasing the rate of remineralization. Two, by forming fluoroapatite and that is deposited. Fluoroapatite is good because it is much more resistant to pH erosions, especially acidic pH erosions, than hydroxyapatite, right? That is why, that is how fluoride works. Okay, clear? Now there is a condition called fluorosis, right? Dental fluorosis is the appearance of faint white lines or streak on the teeth that only occurs when younger children consume too much fluoride from any source over long period when teeth are developing under the gums. When fluoride content in drinking water is very high, children gets fluorosis. Once teeth breaks out through gums, you cannot develop fluorosis. So generally adults don't develop fluorosis. The type of fluorosis found in United States has no effect on tooth function and may make teeth more resistant. United States or any other place. Okay. As per European Union cosmetic regulation, 1500 ppm of fluoride maximum of 1500 ppm of fluoride ions is allowed in toothpaste. Maximum 1500 ppm is allowed in a fluoride ion, not potassium fluoride or sodium fluoride. It's fluoride ion, maximum level of 1500 ppm is allowed. Now the next important ingredient used in oral care is zinc salts. Right? Zinc in the form of zinc salts have been added to oral hygiene products to reduce oral malodor. Okay, because as well it controls plaque and calculus. Right? Zinc can inhibit the formation of volatile sulfur compounds. We saw mouth odor is because of the sulfur compound, and reduce or inhibit oral malodor. Right? It is proven to be effective against common prevalent oral health problems such as dental caries, gingivitis and periodontitis, gum disease. Right? It has been reported that low concentration of zinc have the capability to reduce the dissolution and promote remineralization of teeth under caries stimulation condition, right? Zinc citrate, zinc sulfate or zinc chloride or zinc salts generally used in oral care, right? Zinc salts are very important. Right, now what are the zinc salts? Also act as astringents, right, for bleeding gums, right, for also act as astringents. It precipitate proteins and forms complex, and that blocks the bleeding gums. So it arrests bleeding gums. So zinc salts are widely used. Zinc ion. It has excellent benefits on oral teeth and gums. Now the antibacterials that are used widely was triclosan. Now triclosan is banned. So fluoride has mild antibacterial activity. Zinc salts have antibacterial activity. And two cationics, cetyl pyridium chloride and chlorhexidine digluconate, usually used in mouthwash as antibacterial. Okay, it's used in mouthwash as antibacterial, right? This is generally the ingredients used in the oral care. Now we can go and see what are the herbal ingredients that can be used in oral care, right? There are potent herbal ingredients that can be used in oral care. Herbal astringents, Acacia arabia, babul, no, Acacia catechu, right? Acacia farnesiana, needle bush, sweet acacia, neem bark extract, okay, neem bark extract, Cinnamon zelinicum bark extract, okay. Then Emblica ribes vidang, no, amla, no, Mimosa elengi, medlar, rhubarb, miswak. Miswak is a very good astringent. Terminalia bellerica, no, beheda, that's also chabula. Then 5-leaf chastry. These are all good astringents. No, apart from astringents, some of them have antioxidant, antibacterial properties also. So this is neem bark extract is a very, very good astringent. Babul, right? These are all widely used. Then babul toothpaste is there, no? So babul is a good astringent. It has mild antiseptic properties, antioxidant properties, right? So it can quench free radicals, right? So these are all the. I am not going deep into the chemical constituents of each. No, it will be again a big session. No, you can easily view the chemical neem bark extract and neem leaf extract also very good herbal. So neem bark and leaf, no, it's very, very good for oral care. Extract Cinnamomum xylenicum, cinnamon extract, no, oil, very good herbal antibacterial. Then Gluteria fragrantissima, wintergreen. Then Salvadora persica, miswak, that's also very good antibacterial. Bellerica, then hardad and 5-leaf chastry. So some of these ingredients, no, have multi benefits. Then herbal mouth freshener which have antibacterial properties also. They are all herbal mouth freshener. This is herbal antibacterial, right? Herbal antibacterial, neem leaf bark extract, cinnamon, wintergreen, miswak, beheda, hardra and 5-leaf chastree. Right? Herbal mouth freshener. Dill, Indian dill. They are also have antibacterial properties. Cardamom, fennel, betel and ajwan. Am I right? And they have antibacterial and mouth freshening properties, right? And herbal pain relief, right? Toothache, two things are used. Clove is used for toothache, clove oil, and Indian prickly ash, toothache tree. It has an anti-inflammatory principle, right? It reduces inflammation, so thus reducing toothache, right? So these are all the natural herbs that can be used for various benefits, and for oral care, a lot of natural herbs are really potent. Aspect we will be discussing tooth whitening, right? Tooth whitening, we have anti-redepositing agent zinc citrate prevent the deposition of chromophores. What are chromophores? Chromophores are things which causes color, molecules which causes color, and inhibition of calculus formation where external stains could be incorporated, zinc citrate. Calcium phosphate, as hydroxyapatite, addition of white calcium phosphate particles on the tooth surface, right? Colorants, example blue covarin, shifting color absorption and reflecting spectra from yellow to blue, right? By color modification, change the color from yellow to blue. The enzyme proteases, papain from papaya and bromelain from pineapple, okay? They support stain removal due to degradation of salivary proteins, which deposit on tooth surface. Then peroxide, these are widely used, right? Hydrogen peroxide and calcium peroxide, widely used for oxidation of organic chromophores, right? So papain and bromelain is also used in herbal toothpaste for polyaspartate, its inhibition of stain, it inhibits restaining, right? Surfactants, it's just removal of the color through the surfactant properties. And the colorants are used in some places, peroxides most of the places, and surfactants are used in all the toothpaste, abrasives, okay? Generally the toothpaste for tartar removal, right? Tartar, or for the stain removal, they are all high abrasive toothpaste, high abrasive toothpaste, okay? What is this? There is a abrasion measurements called RDA, that is relative dentine abrasion, okay? So It is measured by a radioactivity method, a relative Denton abrasion value of a toothpaste. The maximum RDA allowed by FDA is 200, by ADA, American Dental Association, 250. Right? This is the maximum allowed. Usually normal toothpaste, the range varies from 80 to 100. Right? Normal toothpaste RDA is 80 to 100, whereas for removal of tartar and removal of color, the RDA can be 150 to 200. RDA can be 150 to 200. So these toothpaste RDA can be relative dentine abrasion value can be 150 to 200. Right? It can be 150 to 200. So that's how high abrasive toothpaste, but if you continuously use high abrasive toothpaste, it can spoil the dentine. So you can use for the removing the tartar or removing the color, right? Abrasives are used, peroxides are used, enzymes are used, and sometimes colorants in some toothpaste are used. Right? This is tooth whitening. Right? So now I would like to discuss with you on two special toothpastes. Okay, special toothpaste ingredients. That is bicarb. No, sodium bicarbonate is used. So the sodium bicarbonate toothpaste, what happens? It neutralizes excess acid and reduces the bacterial load. So sodium bicarbonate, soda bicarb, no, it is used as the toothpaste, right? It's also so soda bicarb is used, and it's called baking soda toothpaste. Baking soda toothpaste, no? That is why it neutralizes excess acid, it reduces bacterial load. The other thing is xylitol. It's a polyol, naturally available. So xylitol is a good sweetener in toothpaste, but it has to be used at high level, 20 to 25%. Now xylitol also good to prevent dental caries. So xylitol is not generally used in all toothpaste. So this is what I told, special ingredient. Xylitol is used in some special toothpaste. So and soda bicarb toothpaste is also a separate category by itself. So baking soda toothpaste, it neutralizes the excess acid and reduces the bacterial load. Right? So this is what I want to share with you today on toothpaste ingredients. I think it was I restricted the number of, I selected the ingredients for discussion, right? So I thought focused on the ingredient list, right? So this is about the ingredients for toothpaste. Now in this section, till this session we are completing the building blocks. From the next session we will go to the physicochemical aspects or of some the product forms, like what is an emulsion, what is a suspension, no, some physicochemical aspects, right, of some major product forms, right, not all, major product forms, right. So when we end, I usually share my life lesson, most probably in this, no, next most probably life lessons will not be there. Let me see. So because I don't think, I am not getting any feedback about the life lessons. So part 32, the life lesson is, you can't hurt others without dirtying your soul, right? You can't throw mud on others without dirtying your hand. Same meaning. You can't hurt others without dirtying your soul. That's what I want to share. Thank you. Thank you for joining me for this session. We will soon get into the next session. Till then, bye.